Welcome, marvelous makers,
and art appreciators,
to the ArtSpace podcast,
brought to you by Lemon Street Gallery ArtSpace,
located at 4601 Sheridan Road.
Stop on by your favorite citrus-themed art gallery. I'm going with my original phrase today.
Keep it classic.
We're in a classic mood today.
Because we've got an OG with us today.
Sure,
Yes.
sure. Why not?
Yes. And I am your host, Shelby Nesmith.
And I'm Jake Hoy.
Shut up.
Oh, it's going to be a fun one today, guys.
We've had some mead.
Oh, yeah, there is like a little bit of mead in our system.
And I stumble over my own name.
But we're doing it.
Yes, we're doing it. And today we are with, I always say the fabulous, but this person is truly fabulous and wonderful. Don't roll your eyes at me. Today we're going to be chit-chatting with Beth Dary today.
Well, as Donnie Stancato would say, the lovely Beth Dary. So we just shorten it to LBD. So
LBD is in the house.
Woo woo. Well, awesome.
Welcome, Beth.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to have you on for literally years at this point.
Yeah, he keeps asking, like, when do you think would be okay? I was like, give her a minute. I was just hey, just give her a minute.
I've just been excited to hear from Beth Dary.
Aww.
Maybe there's some people at home that don't know who Beth is.
That's true.
Maybe. Probably not, but maybe.
Bet there's quite a few.
Well, Beth is the former executive director of Lemon Street. She is an artist member here at Lemon Street still to this day, and has been since 2006, I want to say.
Sounds about right.
Did my research.
2005, I was involved in artistry, and so that January 2006 is when I officially joined.
So we're coming up on 20 years of membership. Not yet, not yet. Coming up. It's on the horizon. We can see it.
Startle
over there.
me.
And we love it. 20 glorious years. It will be in 3 more years.
Yes.
For me, but
For you.
25.
25.
For Lemon Street.
Next year.
Do-do-do-do.
We were already talking about what we want to do for that. So
Working on those.
stay tuned.
Yes, we'll probably have something special. I don't know.
I hope so.
We're planning something special,
Well,
so it better happen.
We're planning on planning it.
Yeah.
An
So-
insight into the board meeting that we just had.
Oh gosh, we won't get into that.
No. Well, we can't because we don't have
Yes.
plans yet.
Shush, Jake.
Hey, I'm all about transparency here.
I know you are, but you're like a window out here, dude.
I can see right through you.
But yes, working with Beth for a long time, and that was so nice. Just I miss those days. We'd come in and we'd just chit chat, and I know when we left, we popped open a bottle. Oh, when you left, we popped open a bottle of wine and just talked for hours about the art community and where things are going, and it was just so fabulous. So, yeah. So
That was important.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
The passing of the torch.
We might not even have this podcast if not for Beth. I mean, the encouragement and incubation that took place there,
Oh, yeah.
I have a feeling
Instrumental.
you guys would have done whatever you wanted to.
Well, I know for a fact, I can say this, that I would not be involved with Lemon Street Gallery if not for Beth. She's the one that invited me to apply for the board now 5-ish years ago. And so I literally wouldn't be sitting in this room if not for her. So,
Very
Thank you.
cool. You are very well. It was our pleasure. We saw the potential, and you brought it with all you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But.
Well, awesome. We're all supportive of each other and we miss each other, and it's just so nice. So
I do. It's been a weird few years. We missed each other during the pandemic, and then we, missed each other because I just retired, and it's been
it's
roller coastery.
different chapter. So
And almost fittingly, we're sitting in an empty room right now, whereas usually we're surrounded by beautiful art. We are currently in transition, I guess you'd say, between the July show and the August show.
Yep. Which will be Carly Lyons, Peg Rosh, and Paula Tui. So get on down when that's up. I don't know when you're listening to this, but get on down to the Lemon Street Art
Stop
Gallery.
on by.
Yes. So yeah, it smells like paint in here. I painted the walls. I'm covered in white paint. Well, not as much anymore, but covered in white paint.
It's looking spick and
So-
span in here. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's beautiful.
Got to keep them walls.
Yeah, it's. I should have brought my sunglasses. The
Yeah.
glare.
It's very bright.
Beth was shielding her eyes for those at home.
So maybe it's a mixture of the mead and the paint fumes, but hey, we're having a good time.
Oh,
So-
yes, we are. But we got questions that
Yeah.
keep us on track to stop us from straying too much. We're probably going to stray some.
Yeah.
Full disclosure.
Yes.
I think we already have. We had like a 25-minute preamble before we even started
Yeah,
recording, but
It's neither here nor there. We're gonna keep.
now we're on track.
Yep. So I always like to spring a question on our artists, as you probably
Ooh,
know.
quite a sound effect there. That was Beth Dary, by the way, folks.
Sharp breath intake.
Yeah.
You did not just run over a fox on your way into work this morning.
I like to surprise artists, as you probably know, listening to the podcast. But so I always ask, if you had to summarize your artwork, like what kind of style do you paint in? Is there an art movement that you can kind of attach to kind of inform people about what you do?
Wow, that's a very good question.
Mhm.
And it has, I would say, evolved over the years. I am very drawn to like folk art and primitive and colorful and mark making, and try and incorporate all of that into what I feel, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know what that style is. I mean, it's like impressionist paintings, but
Mhm.
I like weaving. It's like, that's a pretty broad spectrum.
And kind of merging the two in that, and especially with your quilt, like the collages that you've been doing recently too. It's this mixture of fiber arts and printmaking, and just you're kind of pulling in different things. So
Yeah, I think there's a marriage between printmaking and stitching, and that's something I'm really stitching on paper, stitching on fabric. I'm pretty excited about some of the possibilities there. So
yeah, they kind of have both of a very hands-on process too. So gotta love both of them to do. So
I'm not a strong drawer or painter. I could paint. I mean, ish. I mean, not like paint, like people who paint, but I
I can paint a wall.
put paint on things. But I can't draw very well. So it's like, oh, if only I could stitch that, because then I can get it, So yeah, that's why I break it down to a line, and then it can be something that's stitched.
Oh, well, cool. Yeah, breaking it into simpler shapes. I very much relate to that, because that's just how I paint, breaking it down into little tiny shapes and going. So, yeah,
That's a good printmaking philosophy. So yeah.
yeah, because then you could do multiple colors. Like you can, if you break it down into shapes, you can like change one color, or you can run the whole thing. It's just really cool. So,
I got an early educate Jake to just
Go.
throw in here real quick.
go.
What's mark making?
Mark making. Well, mark making is an abstraction of a piece by making marks. I mean, at the very simplest, using maybe paint, Posca pens, some type of linear grouping on a piece that would be complementary or contrasting to the rest of the piece.
Is it like that one piece that like you walk up real close and it's a bunch of dots?
That's
that what-
pointillism.
Or am I totally off track?
So pointillism is a form of mark making,
Okay.
kind of.
I'm not totally off track.
So
Just mostly.
when you put the medium, whatever you're doing, to whatever canvas or area that you're working in, it's that pressure that you apply and that texture that you apply using that medium that kind of creates that mark making.
Okay.
So like paint, you can really smush the brush down and have a more furled out kind of mark. You can have more of a scratch like mark. There's different forms of getting different textures through just applying your whatever you're drawing with or painting with or making with, applying that to the surface and kind of just letting either your brain do it or just what the medium allows you to do.
Okay.
So,
Because I was going to say I'm familiar with Maker's Mark, but not mark making.
One might lead to the other. Who
Oh,
knows?
Yes.
okay.
Yes, they're hand in hand.
Well, now we know. So this has been Educate Jake.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But
Good.
you love textures as well,
Mm-hmm.
so being in tandem with the fiber arts, I can see where, with even the printmaking, you're gonna have so much fun exploring the textures and everything. So, see that starting to form. So, very excited.
It is exciting, and it is something that is relatively new to me, but I have a long background in fiber arts, and so it doesn't come, that part of it comes very intuitively, and it's the printmaking part that really isn't intuitive to me. So that's where my education, like educating Jake, is coming in the last year or so. I've been really trying to focus on different types of printmaking and taking classes where I can and exploring where I can on my own. And I have a hard time thinking in reverse, and with printmaking, you have to.
Oh yeah.
And so that's been a big challenge for me, but it's something that I wanted to challenge myself with. So.
Yeah, and I know with your approach, you're a very very physical, visual person as well. So, I know doing like a computer layout, that's just not your vibe at all. To lay something out on the computer, it's like, no, I want to take the pieces and I want to put them here. So that is,
Nothing wrong with that.
there's nothing wrong with that. It's that is really a learning curve with printmaking is when you work in that way, and there's nothing wrong with that. So yes.
I could take a cardboard cutout and yeah, put it different pieces out on it and see how it would look.
Beth, you little goober.
Am I missing an in
Yeah,
joke here?
it's an inside joke, but we're gonna keep on moving.
Okay. I'm in the dark too, folks at home. That's
Yes.
okay. Well, this all leads very nicely into our first question, which I am not going to be able to ask because of the amount of laughter going on across the table from me. Oh,
Yeah.
now sudden seriousness.
We're
Okay,
listening. Continue.
let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Deep voice time. Beth.
Deep voice time.
Beth. How did you first get into art, and what are some of your earliest art memories?
How did I first start getting into art? I think as a child, it was mere boredom.
Mhm. Yeah, no.
And actually, one of my earliest memories is being maybe 3. And we would spend weekends or at least Sundays at my grandparents'. And we would be given brown grocery bags to color on and crayons. And that was, while the adults had adult time, and we would color on this brown paper bag. And I might have some form of they're called pica, where you eat things.
Oh god.
Because I would chew on the paper bag. My
Oh.
sister would tell me it's made out of horsehair. What are you-" So
Oh.
she would. I mean, she terrorized me horribly as a child, which I deserved most of it. But so that was I think, eating and coloring on brown paper bags was one of my earliest childhood memories. And
They're not made out of horsehair, are they?
No,
Okay. Now I'm second guessing myself.
No, I know she was just mean.
Trying to-
That would be a
trying to
very
figure this out.
expensive bag.
Oh, gosh.
They make glue out of horses, right?
Horses' hooves.
Hooves.
Oh, hooves.
Or at
And
least
gelatin
used to.
is like hooves.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Sidetrack, but either way,
Yeah,
I can
okay,
just
sorry.
picture it now. Just little Beth chewing on the bag and doodling on the same thing as the parents are playing cards or something in the background, and they're
Making
just like,
Manhattans.
yeah, just like go, go chew on your bag. I could see it. I could
Really,
see
we
now.
feed them.
But I could see it now.
And yeah, it was just spending a lot of time doodling as a kid, and
Yeah.
then it became kind of a nervous habit. I think where
Oh, I
would
definitely do that too.
Yeah, and high school. I mean, everything we would color on our jeans. We would do our shoes. We would our notebooks. Everything was penned, inked up.
Doodled something somewhere.
Yeah, it was always good.
I remember gel pens being big when I was in school, and you would like write on the back of your hand and like do little like flowers and stuff.
My mom would yell at me if I came home with anything on my hands.
Yeah.
For us, it was mainly Sharpies because we couldn't
okay.
have them in at school. And then she'd just be like, "Stop it, you're going to get skin cancer."
Yeah.
And
It's
she'd
going to absorb all the chemicals.
Yeah, and I'm just like, whatever, Mom. And she would get mad at me.
And you'll get lead poisoning from chewing on pencils.
Yes.
Because that's lead and not graphite.
But yeah.
They tried. They tried to quell that artistic.
Really, they just didn't want all the pencils in the house to be all chewed up.
Yeah.
But,
There's that.
that's another story.
Not my Ticonderoga. So, but yeah, my mom would always yell at me if I came home with doodles on my hands. It's like, you can doodle on paper, doodle on whatever, just don't doodle on you.
Well, we would do the X for cooties,
Yeah.
boy shot, shot against
Circle,
boys,
dot, dot.
No
No,
boy
you have a
jokes. Well,
cootie
we didn't get that creative. It was just
That'll
an
come
X.
later.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of bubble letters, so the big,
Oh, yeah.
child of the 70s, I'm dating myself. So yeah, big bubble letters.
Well, the thing with the circle, dot, dot, then you just have boobs on your hand.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we
So that was, no.
We always did this thing. Did you ever do that thing?
Yes, the S thing.
Beth can't see.
we didn't.
It's,
No.
people at home might know what I mean. It's like the block S, the letter S.
Made with a bunch of just lines.
You would draw like 3 lines and then below it 3 more
more.
lines and then connect them and then draw like triangles on top. And that made never mind.
Yeah.
This is
It's very similar to a game my sister and I used to play in church,
Oh, okay.
where you have dots and you have to make boxes.
Oh, I've seen that game.
Yeah.
It's like a real game,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
so.
because you just get like dotted graph paper and then you just play that
Take
game.
turns. And to whoever made the most
Yeah.
squares wins or
It's-
something.
Because then when you
Yeah.
made the full box, then you put like the letter of your first name on it. And yeah.
That was too advanced for
Wow.
me. I never made it past tic-tac-toe.
But you did the S thing.
I could do the S thing.
That's
It's,
pretty.
it's not even a game. It's just a thing.
Yeah. Well, you're good at the thing. so.
Jake didn't have sisters.
I was not. No, I didn't. Only child until I was like 8, and then I had a younger brother. So
I was an only child. Well, I am an only child too.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
Yeah, strange. This is why we had bad board meetings because we get really sidetracked.
yes,
I think they
yes.
were good.
Oh.
No, I'm teasing.
No, I mean, just it's enjoyable to chat like this.
And now it seems like we have the meeting and we just leave now, and it's like, that was quick. What?
Well, I keep it moving.
Oh
you know.
yeah.
What happened to the meeting after the meeting?
Yeah. No, it's serious. Like, it's like, bye, I'm going home. And then they just like flood out of the room. And I'm like, oh,
Is that a me thing? Am I
No.
like?
no, it's
Well-
not. You're the last one there with me.
Oh yeah, I know, but maybe I'm scaring them off.
No, I don't know. Summer people have just been so busy.
Oh
this
yeah,
year.
yeah.
Like,
So much going on.
yeah. So either way, enough about board meetings. So Beth, who or what were some of your influences on your artwork?
Wow.
Yeah.
Influences on my artwork. A big one was my mother.
Mhm.
I think she lived a little vicariously through me. Here, try this, try that, do
Uh-huh.
this. Oh, you could do it. You could do anything, And so, I mean, which was wonderful. I mean, that was a great ego boost. But
Yeah.
she would see it through rose-colored glasses, I'm sure. So
Putting your work on the fridge.
Mhm.
yeah. And I
Just scribbling out your little signature on the end and putting it in there. It's like, yes, I'm ready.
but I have to admit, going through after she passed away, going through her papers, and she had folders for each of the kids, and
Aw.
in my folder, she had like every article that I was in the paper
Aw.
for. She would have all of the paper I wrote in college, and it's just. I know. So, yeah, that is definitely a mother's hope and dream for her daughter
Mhm.
to be happy and to be well. And so she really did influence. My grandmother was a pastel artist, which I didn't know about until
Oh.
later in life.
Oh.
So I think just the notion that it wasn't crazy to make things, paint things, do things was really important and a really good thing for me to be influenced by. That it's not like it was.
You're
Right.
gonna do
Yeah.
that for a little
But what does it do?
Yeah.
Right.
Which I would get sometimes, but
It's
that's okay.
unfortunate that more people don't have the kind of support system. And
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
what are you going to do for money? That kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. And I think at an early age, I was going to be an art teacher. That was something I wanted to. Well, I didn't become an art teacher, but that's okay too. So I guess that was an early influence. We always had our hands busy growing up. Everything from making cheese to
Oh.
candles. I remember a summer, my mother and my cousins and my aunt and I, something was going on in the family. I'm not exactly sure what it was, but we were up north in Eagle River, and we ran a little shop that was like a plaster painting shop.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when the shop wasn't open, we'd do little day trips, and we would go to different parks. And one park we would go and we'd bring our camp stove, and so we would make candles on the beach.
Candles.
Sand candles. So we'd have the camp stove and the coffee cans, and we'd melt the wax, and then we'd like make these holes in the sand and put different shells along the outside and pour the wax.
in. Oh.
So I mean, she was always doing.
neat.
She always had ideas about things, but she needed somebody to execute it. I think or someone
Gotcha.
to help her execute or make it okay too.
I'm not gonna do this by myself.
Right.
Yeah.
And I completely understand that. So, that was the idea that it was okay to do whatever you felt compelled to do.
Oh.
And creativity doesn't have to be boxed into, traditional, you paint. That's what you do. You paint or you sketch,
Right.
No,
Try it all.
make a candle on the beach. Make cheese. You kind of glossed over that. You made cheese?
I think that was kind of like my dad's thing. He's like, because he would make sauerkraut and
Oh, yeah.
More of the pickling stuff.
yeah, and he got somebody for Christmas got a cheese making kit, and so we made cheese. And it was not good.
Oh.
Sauerkraut was not good either.
Oh.
Once it turns, it's
Yeah. Got to read up on pickling and cheese making. Oh,
It's tricky.
it really is science.
there is and daily maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like a Christmas tree, you wouldn't think there's daily maintenance. You got to water the Christmas tree.
I never had a living tree growing up. At least not in my memory. My mom is probably listening at home going, yes, we did when you were 3. And I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I always remember having the same artificial tree. So I never knew the maintenance of Christmas trees.
Yeah. You don't think about it until it's sitting in your living room and you're like, ah, crud. I got to water this thing.
Or it's June and you're finding remnants of the Christmas tree. As you're carpeting and vacuuming.
Poking
up.
you in
Yeah.
the foot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You go to throw it out and all the needles fall off all at once.
Pretty much. So, a little sidetrack there, but that's okay.
Well, we got another question.
Yes.
Keep it moving.
Mhm.
Beth, who are some of your favorite artists? And local artists would be included, famous artists.
Well, I would say that the big ones, also very traditional. I have a very strong Dutch background, so obviously the Dutch painters, Van Gogh, very, very heavily influenced with that. The expressionists, the color, that texture, that amazing vibrancy that comes from those painters, which everybody I think is like odd. And putting it in context with history is the one thing I think that doesn't always happen for people to understand artists. That's why this podcast that Shelby turned me onto,
Yes.
Art Holes,
Oh, yeah.
is really good because this guy who does this podcast really puts it in, context with history and what's going on. I mean, that was a great way to understand a lot of the artists that people know as artists renownedly.
Mhm.
Locally, which actually locally, our printers are amazing. I think
Oh, yeah.
the Bagulkis, Joe Sabo,
Oh,
I mean, seriously, we're very fortunate to have a lot of, I think, really good local talent. Instagram
Woody,
has,
too.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
That
mean,
popped
it
into my
goes.
head. Yeah.
Instagram is a really great way to develop favorite artists too, or influencers. Heidi Parks is a Milwaukee fiber artist, and she does amazing hand quilting. Anna Falchetta is a Canadian mixed media artist, and I follow her on Instagram. She's very inspiring. And there's some mono printers whose names escape me, but I think that's probably been my heaviest influence lately is Instagram artists that
Okay.
you can follow and just stalk. And
I know. I love doing that. It's my favorite hobby.
I now have access to the Instagram account for the ArtSpace podcast, and I
Yeah.
use it to, book guests sometimes and stuff. But sometimes it'll like keep me logged in, and I'll go on there, and I just see so many people that we follow and stuff, like the
Yeah.
artists, and I'm like, oh man, this is like a plethora. It's like a
Yeah.
huge rabbit hole to dive down.
Oh, yeah. And that's where we do a little bit of scouting as well. So, yeah. It's a place to do it, I think. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, check in on your local artist. Go stalk their social media, give them some love, and comment and give them a like, give them a heart wherever you're viewing their stuff. So,
absolutely, I
yeah.
mean, nothing feels better than to get that kind of recognition.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's why we do it.
It's the easiest way to support them. It doesn't cost anything at all, so go do that. But we're going to have a chit chat with Beth when we come back from our break and our wonderful word from our wonderful sponsor.
Hello, ArtSpace podcast fans. This is Joseph from Draw Joseph Studio. Most of you know who I am. I have this fabulous world-class draw studio up in Racine at the Racine Business Center, 1405 16th Street. My studio is real easy to find. It's on the first floor on the east side, right inside the tunnel. If you know the Racine Business Center, it's a big, tall brick building, and there's a big Von Schrader on the east side of the building, and the tunnel's right underneath the Von. So come in the tunnel, first studio to your right. And on every Tuesday afternoon at 5:30, the gates open up, and at 6 p.m., I have a model posing. You're invited. It's free. Tip the model. Hope to see you there.
And we are back from that break.
Woohoo!
Thanks for staying with us. The meat is being passed around once more.
I'm going to take the rest.
Take the rest. You earned it. It is delicious meat. Did we talk
Yeah.
about it already?
We did
I don't
not.
know.
I
No,
don't
we
think
didn't.
so.
Tell us about it. It's from Door County.
It is from Door County. It is a honey wine with added cherry juice and honey.
And apple juice, I
And
believe.
apple, yes.
Yeah.
So I went on a kind of a solo vacation, my first, and went to Door County. And my goal was to visit the 4 state parks that are in the peninsula.
There's 5. I know this because I tell people all day that there's 11 lighthouses and 5 state parks.
Which one did I miss?
Peninsula,
Yeah.
Newport,
Newport, Potawatomi.
Rock Island.
Oh, I didn't go to Rock Island.
That count.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
And technically, it's not on the peninsula. So you're
Yeah,
right. You were right.
Okay.
I was wrong. It's in Door County, but not on the
Yes,
peninsula.
That's true. That's true. When I went, I don't think the ferry was
Right.
going.
You have to take 2 ferries to get to it.
Right,
Yeah.
and it was before the ferry started up for the season.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So I couldn't get
You're
there.
good. You
Oh,
passed.
yeah. You were over there in the winter, weren't you?
It was it was March.
Oh, March. That's right. Yeah.
Snowed every stinking
No.
day. Yes. Snowed, rain, fog. I mean, it was the worst weather, but I expected that.
No
I mean,
crowds?
I wasn't. No crowds. Nothing open. Very little open, except this distillery not in Ephraim.
Egg Harbor,
Sister Bay.
Sister
No, it
Bay?
wasn't Sister Bay. Egg
Fish
Harbor.
Creek,
One of those.
in Door County.
In Door County. It was, and so this distillery was open, but I wasn't too interested in that. But they did have mead, And so I got a flight of mead, and the name of this one is Pop Art. So of
Very
course I
fitting.
had to,
So fitting.
yeah, I had to bring some of that home.
It's delicious. Sweet and perfect.
Yum, yum,
I
yum.
like the cherry. I've always been a cherry guy.
Mhm.
There's a mead place.
I approve.
She
The
approves.
Hive.
Yeah, in East Troy. I was just
Yeah.
going to say. You've been there?
I have not. I've been threatening to go there, but again, I'm not going to go alone. So
I've been there a couple times, but it's been a few years now.
Yeah.
And yeah, they have very, very good mead.
my son goes there. That's where they got their wedding mead from.
Gotta have some wedding mead.
The marriage
Oh.
mead.
The marriage
get
mead.
get married like a Viking.
Honest to goodness, they had drinking horns.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
whole 9 yards.
The whole 9 yards. Yep.
Wow. Wow. But
Back to
But-
business.
yeah, back to business here.
We had threatened beforehand to talk about mead the whole time, and Shelby
Yeah.
was like, "I will put a stop to it."
Well, the mead making process. I'm sorry. No.
nitty gritty.
Jake makes mead. We don't need to get into
I've been
it. but
dabbling.
He's been dabbling in mead making. I don't need to know the specifics, but
He's opening
job.
up a meadery in 2025.
okay.
Problem is, I keep drinking it all.
Yeah, that is kind of
Yeah,
kind of a
that's
first rule of.
Yeah, don't get high on your own supply.
But
You've been watching The Wire, huh?
Yeah.
but who are
Omar's
you?
coming.
Who are you making it for? Yourself. There you go.
The world
Okay.
at large,
Okay.
but I'm part of that world.
yeah, you are. So go for it.
You're worldly.
Yeah. No, it's been fun. But anyway,
Yes. You know what else starts with M besides mead?
magic.
Motivation,
Oh, motivation.
and that ties into our question.
The way that Shelby's saying this makes me think it was my turn to ask this question.
It
and
is.
I didn't pick up on that. So, Beth, what is your motivation to create?
Well, I've listened to this podcast, so I
Oh,
knew
thank
this
you.
question was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I did give it a little bit of thought. And I think the motivation to create has really, for me, morphed over the years. I think initially it was, oh, wow, look what I can do. Oh, this is cool. Oh, this is great. Then it kind of got to the point where it became more of a thing I had to do to keep sane and to deal with grief and loss. And we all went through the worst times recently. And I think that need to create became even greater during that time for me.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of people had different thoughts. They had high expectations that they were going to be so productive and they were going to make so many things and didn't, and then felt really horrible.
Right.
I didn't have very high expectations. And for me, it was really, that's when I started my stitching in earnest. And that's when I did a lot of mending and visible mending, which is a thing.
One of my favorite things that you've done. It's so adorable.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a very personal thing to me. And I think that is all part of the journey that brings me to where the work that I'm trying to do now. So without all of that, I couldn't be here. So it all had a reason. It all had a purpose. And it is, I always think that people are like they're most creative when they're depressed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because again, that's something they and I think I have to feel that I have to work through and to be able to create art as an expression or as not even an expression. It's not like you're expressing your grief or your depression. It is something that is maybe a distraction even. Distraction's good. Sometimes you need to be distracted so you don't go down that well. And, I think that has been the motivation for me, has been, just kind of
Diving in deep.
yeah. And now it's back, kind of ebbing back to, I have
Excitement.
excitement about this is something new and something really
this out, guys.
interesting.
Good.
Yeah, it's something that gives me a little flutter. So hopefully it will other people too. So.
Oh.
I love that answer. It's your motivation is a journey. Like, a lot of answers we've heard from other guests, but all of that, constantly changing, evolving.
Yeah. And the idea of like with the most productive when you're depressed, it's like there's this calmness that you kind of have clarity in when you're in that state. It sounds weird, but there's like this certain at least for me when I've because I mainly use art as a mental health tool and everything, I just feel this stillness within myself where it's just like, okay, I now exploded on the paper because it's just calm on the inside. Let the craziness out. So like calm before the storm type of thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't have I'm not an artist. I don't consider myself an artist, but everybody tells me I actually am. So
you
whatever
are.
is what it is. But yeah, I went through a breakup recently, and that's when I started knitting again. I hadn't knitted for in earnest like 2-3 years, and I just picked it up, and I've just was telling during the break that I've probably made like 15 hats in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
Just because
It's healing. I
Yeah.
mean, and I know that sounds rather cliche, I
Right.
think, in a way, but it is. And again, maybe it's a distraction that
Yeah.
you need, and I think that's okay.
And it wasn't a conscious thing. It
No,
was just
no.
I just noticed, oh, I've been knitting a lot. That's weird. That wasn't like that before.
I picked that thing up again.
Yeah.
Well,
Wonderful. They say knitting is the new yoga. So
Oh,
I'm sure.
do they?
I think they said that about 8 years ago.
Okay.
I was about to
Yeah.
say.
I'm still riding the crest of that
I'm
wave.
notorious for being behind on trends. I'm just getting into flannel shirts.
Oh my god.
I got a few I could help you out with.
Oh, I'm big and fat.
As Ellen said, that sounds like something an old person would say. That's what old people say.
Shelby calling out the old attacks that have been
watch it.
hurled at me. Well, I don't even remember the context for that. What did I say? I said something.
Stoking a flame or something, or the irons are in the fire.
Got too many irons in the fire. Is that it?
Something like that.
Is that an
back
old
in-
person thing?
Yeah.
Uh,
As Ellen said.
I think I corrected you because you said you said it wrong or
Too
something.
many fires in the iron?
Yeah, something like that. Maybe that's what it was. I think I earned it, is what I'm saying. The insult.
Yeah.
I deserved it.
Alrighty. So we're going to keep moving right along. I know you are super, super, super excited for this question.
This is it. The big question.
Here it is. Dun, 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 dun. If time and money were no object, what would your dream project be?
Okay, I've been thinking about this for years.
Let it out. Let it out.
I will. I want to find like an old vintage mid-century motel.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be anywhere. It can be far away. It can be close. Better if it's close. And have each of the rooms be like an artist studio that they could let. And the main lobby would be an art gallery.
Oh.
Ah,
And it would be called the Artel.
Artel.
And it would all be so I just think of like, I mean, I've like counted how many air conditioners I would need. I really thought about this a lot.
You're in the nitty gritty.
I am.
Logistics.
I'm looking at the beach area on Sheridan Road, and I'm going.
Oh.
"Hmm."
That's one of the north side ones, right?
Yeah, it's going. It's.
Well-
The tax roll is like $900,000 on it. I'm like,
Oh, wow. You did your
So,
homework.
yeah, a little bit. I'm just a little bit, but there
Taking
is
a peek. Yeah.
Manitowish Waters. There's another place up there. The road we would take to go up to Upper Michigan. There's a couple along that way too, and Traverse has like and they're not in great shape, so they would need like a lot of work. But what a great way to get people to come together. You could have weekly retreats, weekend retreats. People could come and rent their rooms. It could even be a great Airbnb. Who wouldn't want to stay in a room with an artist colony? And
Yeah.
I just think there is so much potential for something really like a great incubator-y
Yeah.
kind of setting. And, that would be, I think, really terrific. I mean, and this was way before Schitt's Creek, so wasn't even influenced by that, but that kind of helped me to keep this dream alive.
Yeah, because like, oh, it's doable. This
Yeah.
is doable.
That's definitely doable.
Yeah.
Isn't it? I know. See, it's not that, but
Mm-hmm.
I have a leaking sink right now in my home. What am I gonna? I'm not that
Yeah.
handy. I
Yeah.
need somebody who's very handy. So
Yeah, it would be
to buy into that.
you need a team for that,
Yeah.
I feel like.
Absolutely. But if money's no object, then I can hire
True.
that team.
Oh,
you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
if time and money were no object, that's extremely doable,
Artel.
especially Artel
Artel.
on the lake, and it could be like influenced by like Michigan or
That's a perfect spot for
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And you're not far from the university there, and yeah.
A lot of good.
That could be good.
I know. So and years and years ago, my husband and I used to say we are going to open up a bagel books and bait shop.
Bagel, books, and bait.
Yeah. When you go up north on vacation, that's all you need. Yeah, that's all you
Just
need.
a bagel, a book, and some bait.
Right.
Just don't mix up the bagel and the bait. You don't want a worm bagel.
Yeah,
was
well,
about
what do you think
lox
lox
of-
is?
Oh,
I was about to say lox.
Lox is salmon. So, but no, and obviously that was kind of a pipe dream. But that led me to think about the Artel, and we would even scope out different locations.
yeah, it sounds like it. You mentioned Manitowish Waters, and I was going to joke that I hope it's not the one where the shooting.
Yeah.
The only thing Manitowish Waters is known for is John Dillinger was like holed up there back in the 40s or 30s, and the FBI caught up to him, and there was a big shootout at this lodge called Little Bohemia, which is in Manitowish Waters or
And
near there.
is still in operation.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's when she said a motel in Manitowish Waters. I'm like, oh, it's not that one. A couple bullet holes there.
Hey, adds
Cover them
to
up
the-
with paintings.
Yeah.
Which just adds to the mystique.
Yes.
So
Adds
all of
character.
you, philanthropists out there who have nothing better to spend your money on, come see me.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've got an
Good-
investment idea here.
Which is doable.
Mm-hmm. Well, awesome.
All right. We're on our last question, guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is the juicy one.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might have some feelings. Beth, what are some of your thoughts about the local art community? Strengths, ways to improve, weaknesses. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's
go.
Yeah, let's go.
No, I think and not to I've had some very strong feelings about it. And I'll begin it with I think that we are all on the same side of the fence, just in different backyards. And how do we I think that there is
Yeah, I know you got to tiptoe.
Don't tiptoe too much.
I'm not really tiptoeing. It's just like I want to formulate a thought. And the upside is I think that our music scene has really taken off and done very, very well in the last few years. When I'm not a native, but I have lived here for years. When I did live here, it was like a scary, sketchy town, and didn't really feel like going out any place was what good girls did.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. And I wasn't all that good, but anyway, no. And I think the art scene has always been more toward the performing arts and to the music end of things. Our schools have fabulous drama programs. Our community art theater is is alive and it does things. I think there's been so much dissension in our visual arts community. There are different, very separate components, and
Yeah.
that's the different backyards that I'm talking about.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
think we all want the same thing. I think we all want to have a vibrant, cohesive, active, fun, important art community. But the way we think it should be done is all different.
Yeah.
And there's the philosophy of silos. We live in silos.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let's, how does that change? I don't know exactly how it changes. I think there have been great advances. I think the art market is great.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
That's been a nice bridge between them all, I'd say.
it has. And I don't think it's like it's not any one entity's thing. It is and it isn't. I mean, it is, but it isn't Lemon Street Gallery's art fair. You know, that's
Not
not the
exclusively.
point of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's not the point of it. The point of it is to give a platform for, artists of all walks of life to be able to have an affordable place to sell their artwork, which is important. That's what we need. We need
100%.
people to, and it's an event that is attractive. Kenosha is on the I-94 corridor. We have businesses that are building here. For those businesses to attract employees, we need to have culture, and we have to have an active cultural environment. And part of that is the visual arts. It's a performing arts, and it's music. It's all those things. But people are going to move here for a job based on how their family or they can be enriched.
Right.
And we have organizations. CABA is really good at showing new companies or potential companies what Kenosha has to offer them. And if we don't have that vibrant cultural art scene, they're not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what happens here?
Yeah.
How do we do that? And it is just the economic impact of the arts, especially in this area, since the industries have left or are minimal. The economic impact of the arts can be huge. And it is a real thing. It is a real, and people have to understand it. It's like we have the stickers. Art is not a frill.
Yeah.
It is not, it is something that is important to a community because I feel like I'm soapboxing here.
No,
Sorry.
do it.
That's the point.
But it is the economic impact that makes a community strong, and it is in our schools. It's involving the schools. It's involving young people, the colleges, the high schools, and it's getting everybody to be excited about the arts in our community. And I'm sad that our Commission on the Arts disbanded. We had a non-funded Commission on the Arts with volunteers from the area to help arts organizations do things and talk about things and get things done. And they had no budget. They had just recently had an alderman, so they had very little government representation. And I don't think it's necessarily the government's responsibility to get the arts going in this community. I think it's great to have their support.
Right.
And I know we've got some big changes coming up in our local government in the very near future, and I am concerned about how that's going to look for the arts. And I think it's all of our responsibility to let people know, even if they aren't an artist or they don't like art, they have to understand the impact that arts make to other people, if not themselves personally.
Yeah.
And we've got to be that advocate, or we have to talk to our legislators. I mean, it sounds like a big scary thing to do, but it isn't. It isn't a big scary thing. They're just people.
Right.
They come to the local bars for their lunch. They're just people. And talk to them and tell them, support this legislation that will bring more of an economic impact to our area. And so many times that now that the Arts Council is like under tourism, so there is big restructuring in our state government as far as how the Arts Board, which is the funding component of the arts in Wisconsin, is now under the Tourism Board instead of the Arts Board. So it's some of that got really messed up, and
that's
and so it's harder to get the Arts Board, which is separate from Create Wisconsin. Create Wisconsin is an organization that is the advocacy arm, a group of individuals who advocate for the arts to our legislators. The Arts Board is a funding organization where they will fund
Distribute,
grants.
yeah.
and
They're writing
distribute grants.
checks,
Right.
yeah.
They write checks.
Mhm.
And those two know each other and they work
Oh.
really well together.
Mhm.
But it is important for everybody, for you, for me, for everyone to talk to their legislators, get to know them, and maybe keep in contact Create Wisconsin, get on their mailing list, get on their newsletter, find out what's going on and what what projects are going on. First of all, that you can maybe be a part of, and how it's important to get something happening in our area, get some representation.
I always say that art is a basic form of communication, and that means that it doesn't go one way. We need the artists need the art appreciators, and so we all have to hold up our end of the bargain. And maybe artists don't like numbers and math sometimes, but it's important, and funding is maybe not fun to talk about, but it makes things happen.
Yes.
You like fun events, you like more visibility for arts. We need some funding, and not I don't mean we as in like us, but like everybody.
Yes.
And it could be something like a civic project. I know we've talked about different things like Lemon Street has kind of adopted Union Park, so no secret. So can we do something to enhance that area? Can we do some sidewalk poetry? Can we write a grant for that to have it happen? So it increases the awareness of the arts. It's something we can do, but we can have somebody talk about that somebody has done it. The Beachfront Arts Festival is a great example. They are a nonprofit that started a few years ago with the Arts Festival, and they've done this all on their own. Support those people. You maybe, I don't know if I know any of the bands, but doesn't matter.
They had some really good bands.
Yeah,
we were
they
it
did.
just full disclosure, everybody. This happened a couple of days ago as we're recording this. We were there, and
Amazing lineup. They stuck it out through the rain, and
so good.
yeah, those amazing bands. I've discovered new bands, so
I really liked Oyemi.
Oh, that was fun too.
They were great.
I really like Sun Silo, but
I missed them. I had to leave.
Yeah,
before them, but
you got to listen to them on Spotify.
I'm gonna look them up.
Yep, do it.
I mean, our friend Kimberly's in that.
Yes, who we've had on
Past guest.
Yes,
from
so-
Violet Wilder.
but yeah, definitely support those efforts. And I know Create Wisconsin, they just started this new coalition, the Creative Economy Coalition, which I went up to Madison with our art market manager, Brenna. And we were there. We were visibly in the room. We were the youngest people in that room. And they were like, "What? You came up from Kenosha?" And we're like, "Yes, because this means so much to us. And we feel like we need to be visible and we need to be present for this. We don't need, yes, we could have gone in through Zoom and just sat from home, but we felt like we needed to be visibly present in that room when those conversations were happening. But they've started this coalition and everything. So if you want an easy way to talk to your legislators, you can go through I think it's through the Creative Coalition website, and it might be linked through Create Wisconsin's website. There's a way that you can send, they give you an email template to talk to your legislators, and then you can kind of fill in and customize it. So depending on your area.
Yeah, the
So,
more they hear, the more they're gonna have to do something.
And it's hard to know what to say.
Yeah.
Say, I don't know, hey.
Help. Yeah.
Yeah, just, we're doing these great things. Don't let this be something that dies. Or, talk about the economic impact. Talk about the wonderful things that are going on here that bring employers and employees here. I mean, the employers are going to come to a place where they can, if you want to think about it in dollars and cents, you said artists don't talk to me about numbers. Which is kind of a stereotype, but
I'm saying it jokingly.
Okay.
Semi.
I know. I think anyway. But it's a real thing, and there is that part of our economy that is enriched by people who sell artwork, who teach, who put on plays, who put on productions, and that has to get counted, and that has to be recognized as an impactful part of our economy, because it has changed to a more of a tourist economy.
And entertainment is almost exclusively art. Like, I try to think of a form of entertainment that really couldn't be considered an art.
Casinos.
Well, okay, yeah.
Someone had to graphically design what you're seeing on there.
Centuries ago, governments had artists. They had like the
Governmental artists.
they had like Caesar's artist.
Yeah. And even in casinos, it's bright flashing lights and stuff.
And graphic designers have had some impact on that.
Yeah.
And I don't think people get that. I think majority of people just, it looks nice, looks pretty, or they don't think about it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. That it just, you gloss over it, you take it for granted, and that's how we get into a situation like we have now, which maybe isn't 100% dire. We have a lot of going for us and everything. We don't want to,
right.
But we got to be serious,
When we're spending 14 cents per capita per person,
Oh, that number, yeah.
it makes me so upset to know that we are last.
50th of 50 states.
We are last. And what we kind of invest into the arts, that is ridiculous.
It's embarrassing.
It
Yes.
is embarrassing.
And our neighbors are doing fabulous. So it's just like, what's going on here? Like,
Iowa beat us?
yeah.
Come on.
Minnesota's a land of plenty. I at one point it was like $1.64. I think they're spending per
They're
capita.
almost at 7 now.
Oh,
yeah. They're like number 3. Yeah. So
they have a very rich native culture too.
Yeah.
So I think that
So do we. And we should.
yeah, exactly.
I understand, but we don't talk about it. We don't. I mean, I think notoriously artists are bad at tooting their own horn.
Yeah.
I think Lemon Street Gallery is bad at doing that. Has been for 25 years.
Don't raise your hand.
Because it's hard. You don't want to be. I mean, it is.
You don't want to brag
It's a
about
fine
it.
line.
Yeah. You want to bring awareness, but you don't want to puff out your chest and be, that cocky person.
Mhm. Yeah. So you just want to just embrace everything as much as you can and kind of just silently do it. I understand being in this position. It's hard.
That's why we need advocates.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
advocates will say, hey, you know what they're doing in Racine? They're doing this really great thing. You know
Yeah.
what they're doing in Kenosha? They're doing this really great, people love the concept of the art market.
Yeah.
And they love the concept of the Beachfront Arts Festival. They love those concepts. They need to know that they're happening and that, they can be part of it or
Yeah.
that that's even happening.
Yeah, I mean, you think about all these great events. Think about the one that isn't happening right
Right.
now. There could be something that isn't happening because they didn't have the funding. They didn't have the education, the networking
The access.
to put it together, and that's what we're missing.
I want Kenosha to do a sandcastle competition.
She's been holding on to this idea forever, and I think we should do it. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Sand building competition.
I
Because
don't know where you start with that, but how good, how appropriate is that with our great natural
Ooh.
resource?
as we smacked them.
There's a lot of gesturing
It's
going
okay.
on.
I know. I'm trying to not talk with my
No,
hands.
it's good.
But it's hard.
She's very excited about the sand building competition.
Yeah, I mean, they do the snow thing
Sculpture.
in Lake Geneva.
We have
Snow
our
days,
ice
yeah.
days.
Yeah. We
and
got a lot of sand. I've seen it. It's there.
I think it could be a thing.
Yeah.
That'd
So
be at like Simmons Island Park, maybe.
Now that
They're
we've got-
opening up the beach house now. Big breaking news next month.
Now that we've got somebody who's taken that over and it will be actually operational.
Yeah.
maybe we could do a little team up collab, something.
Maybe
Oh.
next year.
Well,
maybe.
yeah,
They-
no, yeah,
The owners love us. too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I've had a chit chat with them a few times.
That's Meryl, right?
Yeah.
And I forget the other.
Other lovely person that is involved.
They're in like the newspaper today.
Yeah.
I know the name. I feel bad,
It's okay.
but either way.
The beach house.
yes.
Simmons Island Beach House.
So maybe we'll have a conversation.
That would be awesome.
We will accept ideas
Yes.
too. So if
And
you
donations.
listeners have ideas out there that you would like to see being put on, events that you'd like to see,
Yeah, let us know. We'll
we'll
definitely.
pass it on to our legislator.
Yeah.
No, there's somebody that can connect people.
Yeah. I I love doing that. Trying to connect people of like, hey, I'm looking for a photographer for XYZ. Bam, I have a photographer for you. It's just like, it's very just like gratifying to know that, hey, I'm helping this person achieve something they want by giving this connection. It's just, I don't know.
And Visit Kenosha, who I work for, they help with this kind of thing as well. They can help with getting grants for certain events. That we've done that in the past and hope to do so more in the future. And we also can help with, logistics and ideas and where, when, how, that kind of stuff.
Carnival.
The sand carnival.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Anyway,
so any ideas or anything like that, share them. Well,
send them to Shelby.
yeah, load up my inbox.
But don't throw it at somebody else. This is, like we've said, it takes a team to do some of these things. So, everybody can come up with an idea, but it takes a special someone to bring it to fruition.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. It will be a struggle.
Yep. If you have an idea and you want some connections,
Mm-hmm.
come on over here. We'll probably get something for you.
Yeah. A rising tide lifts all ships.
Just thinking of your quote, and I was trying to.
It's been a while since I said
It
that.
has been a while.
K-Town Connects, they always tease me about that. And they always get it wrong, and I think it's on purpose.
I think it is too.
Do they say
Jason.
boats?
Yeah, I don't know. He'll always say...
I always thought it was boats, actually.
Because Donnie always tries to say, loose lips sink ships.
Oh my God.
I like many hands make light work. So
There you
Yeah.
go.
that's another.
Mhm. And pop that bubble.
Pop that bubble. Are there any I didn't say?
I don't know.
Art is a basic form of communication.
Yeah, you-
I said that one already.
Checklist, you've got them all.
Stop on by.
Bingo. We've got ArtSpace bingo.
Oh, that could be a thing.
Yeah.
Another idea.
Oh my gosh. No, we got to start with Art Buddies first, I
Oh,
think.
gosh. Yeah.
That'll be fun. I don't know if you've heard about Art Buddies.
Listen to the Ben episode.
Ben Moana
Yeah.
episode. Yes, we
Yeah, I kinda
clicked
missed
on
that
my.
one.
And the last episode, we also talked about it briefly.
Yeah.
But we'll
Again.
talk about it one more time because I want it to happen so bad.
We keep saying
So,
it. It's eventually going to
I'm gonna do it eventually.
The mentoring, the partner.
No,
oh.
that was a different thing. But Art Buddies is basically we put together like a Facebook event or an event where people who listen to the podcast can go to these events in different places and know that they have someone there that also likes
Oh, gotcha.
art, and like you can make friends and connect and take your art buddies out to other places too. So like once a month we do an event where it's an art buddies event, and we'd have pins when people come, so people could go be like, hey, you're an art buddy, like
Gold star.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody knows that feeling of like, oh, I was going to go to that thing, but I had nobody to go with.
Yeah.
Well, here
So,
we go.
but knowing that there's people there that also listen to the podcast that do care about the arts and really want to widen their artist horizon and just have more exposure to different kinds of art, that process is just intimidating in itself. So knowing that you have other people doing it and going with you kind of helps. So,
Yeah. I think that's a very good initiative. I really do.
yeah, that was going to be in our Facebook group. We were going to try and start something there and
Look
soon.
for that soon.
Yes. I won't give you a day
How
or
soon
a
is
month.
soon?
Hopefully I get my budding gear, but we'll get into
You
that.
get a lot on your plate.
I do. And I just had my show, so I'm like trying to catch my breath still, and it's like I feel like I still can't breathe.
Well, it's changeover weekend here at the gallery,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
all new art is being installed.
Mhm.
And
Got a new featured show and got new main gallery art. It's just so much. So definitely not this
You're s-
next 2 weeks.
you're
Yeah.
scheduling for 2024,
Yes.
so that's always a big,
That's-
yeah.
Yeah. So I'm doing a lot, but I'm still here, still supporting the arts, still
Doing great.
yeah, still chit chatting with people and getting the word out. So yes,
Nice.
I'm doing it. Well,
So yes, the
Yeah.
more we can promote
Mhm.
the things that are going on, the more we can talk to our legislators, the
Mhm.
easier it is. And it is difficult maybe the first time, but it
Mhm.
not after that. Seems like a big, hairy, scary thing, but it
mhm,
isn't.
No.
So,
Get involved. Speak up.
Yeah.
We want you to be a part of it.
mhm.
Yeah.
I hate the saying, but the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Well, that's another good one.
Yeah, I hate
Barking
it.
dog gets the bone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early bird gets the worm. Kinda.
Yeah, that's a little, yeah.
But yeah, so just trying to make things more transparent. And then if you want to get involved with that process with the Creative Economy Coalition through Create Wisconsin, you can also submit stories. So if there's anything you want to submit, like mental health and art that you type up or write up, they can get published in local newspapers as well. They'll help with that, getting your story out there in the public and relayed over to the legislators. So yeah, they will definitely help you out, and I think they're very ground floor right now, but they're building up to something really awesome from what I've seen at that meeting. So we're
So they can go to, what is it, createwisconsin.org?
I think
Probably.
Yep. I'm gonna double check for you guys real
Yeah.
quick.
Oh, we got to fill some space.
I know
La, la, la.
Anne. Anne is the
And cats.
yeah, she's the director there, and she has been a
Mhm.
superstar for quite some time. And it was a bit of an identity crisis that it used to be Arts Wisconsin,
Yeah.
and then there's an Arts Board, so people were always getting those
Oh, I'm
two
sure.
mixed up. Yeah, I was on the board for Arts Wisconsin.
But
Not the
the
Arts
Wisconsin.
Board.
And not the Arts Board, but Jane Herring, one of our artist members, is on the board for Arts Wisconsin. No,
Arts Board.
Arts
Okay.
Board. And yeah, so now that Arts Wisconsin was having a bit of an identity crisis, that's why they came up with Create Wisconsin, kind of like Visit Kenosha.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it says what it is, and it's not one to be confused with
Easier.
yeah.
Gotcha. And it is createwisconsin.org, and then it's under the advocacy tab. There's a legislative action center, and different talking points if you want to talk with people, and just ways that you can kind of relay this information without spitting a bunch of numbers at people, because sometimes people don't personally connect with numbers as much. As Beth throws a cap at me.
Trying to catch it.
So they have different ways that you could talk about this topic without just spewing a bunch of larger words and numbers.
Yeah.
So just trying to really connect on the basic level of what they're trying to accomplish with this. And yeah, we're really excited. Lemon Street is signed up to be a part of the coalition. So basically we're reporting income and everything so that they can get analytics on the support that we receive. And yeah, we've got some ideas for how we can kind of report on different things like at the art market and try and do surveys and anything like that. So yeah, however you want to connect.
Information is power.
Yes. So connect with createwisconsin.org to help with this problem.
Yeah. And it takes a few minutes. You
Yeah.
know, it does. And then you're done.
Mhm.
So,
And it could make the world a difference.
and
Yep.
you may feel called to do more.
Yeah.
Yes. And you can always do more. So
That's your homework, everybody.
yes.
Get working on that.
Mhm.
Get cranking.
Yes. Well, is there anything you want to promote, Beth? That one podcast?
Oh, well, so I don't know. It's definitely it's art related, but
Mhm.
That's fine.
Go for it. It's,
We- This is your promote section.
This
you
is
know.
my promote section.
it's
Well,
podcast
any and any?
related.
I have a new podcast that is going to be dropping, a podcast that I'm interested in. It is called Hang Up.
Yep. Hang up.
It is my nephew, Ben Montoya.
Shout out.
Name drop.
Shout out. Yep. He is, I'm very proud of him. He is a
Oh.
podcaster from, I think he invented podcasting.
Oh, wow.
I'm not kidding. I mean, he's young, but he has been on the cutting edge of it for a very long time.
Well, thank you,
Yeah,
Ben.
Ben is amazing. He would volunteer time at the college radio station, and he has this great podcast voice. But he is, and he's worked for, like I said, Audible and Condé Nast, and so now he is kind of on his own and doing what he loves. He is going to be teaching podcast production at NYU this semester.
Ooh la la.
Coming semester. But he is dropping a reality dating show called Hang Up. And the premise of the show, though, is, at how many reality shows it's the objective is to get married at the end, find this married couple. Well, this is not that objective. The objective is not this. It is all done by phone call. So the contestants or whatever never see each other, and they can choose to either hang up on the date. The star person can either hang up on the individual, and then at the end, the person who is the last one chosen by the star also has the power to reject or accept this person. And then they go to the winners, then will go to an all expense paid vacation. So, I mean, there's not the expectation of a ring in the end, but you are ringing somebody up.
But,
Yeah. So yeah, that's coming up. And,
Check that out.
Look
yeah.
for that.
that out. Yeah. And,
We know you like podcasts.
Yeah.
and his father, Fred Montoya, just his little shout out for him, was an extra in Oppenheimer.
What?
Yeah. And
Oh yeah, because he's in New Mexico,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got a strong connection. Well, he works in Los
Alamos,
but
yeah.
yeah, and he has been doing a couple different extra appearances in different shows. Better Call Saul was filmed in New
Holy
Mexico,
moly.
so he is like the guy drinking coffee in the booth. So no actual mention, but he hasn't gotten credits, but he's been able to see and work with some really amazing people. Not like heavily working,
Yeah,
with, but
yeah.
like they're over there.
Holy moly,
So
yeah.
yeah,
They're gonna walk
Oppenheimer.
past me.
but yeah, so he was in Oppenheimer. I actually saw him. So I mean, for a split second,
Aw.
they like blur out the crowd a lot.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
Very exciting. Yeah. So my famous artistic family
Oh.
in the South, so,
Oh.
doing their job to promote the arts in their own way.
Well, good for them.
All right, Shelby's looking at her watch.
No, I accidentally got a text message that wasn't. Someone sent me a text message that was not supposed to go to me. So
Those are my favorite.
because that was
Play along.
that was so out of context. So, ooh wee.
There's another podcast.
Yeah.
No, you're the jerk, Sharon.
Yeah, that was not pertaining to the previous conversation I was having with that person. So either way, thank you for coming on the podcast. We
Thank
truly
you,
for
Beth.
having
Yes,
me.
thank you. Mhm.
Yeah.
You're great.
You guys are great. I mean, to
Oh.
do this on your own time, I think is a great service to the arts and to our community. And I am glad that you're doing it.
Oh.
And I'm glad that you're here and get everybody on it.
Yes.
Everybody listen.
Yes, please.
So start a Patreon.
We're working
Oh,
on it.
yeah, that's on the list, right?
Yeah. That's it's Patreon Art Buddies. No, wait, it's TikTok Patreon Art Buddies.
TikTok.
But I might put a pause on TikTok because I don't like social media.
Yeah.
Oh.
Somebody out there does.
Yes.
So, but yeah,
Yay.
I think that people would be happy to support,
Mhm.
and they don't know how. So having Patreon gives them a really good means in which to do that, and you can give them shout outs, and that's what it's all about.
Oh yeah. Well,
You can spell their name backwards and mispronounce it, and you can do all kinds of fun things with those Patreon
true.
people.
True. Very true.
Yeah.
I'll butcher it either way.
I wouldn't know anything about giving shout outs to patrons.
No, not at all.
No.
Jake's weather page never does.
Patreon.com/Kenosha Weather.
Selfish plug.
Yeah, and you really, honestly, you don't have to, even commit to too much money, and he'll shout out your name.
Yeah, like $1.
Like $1.
Like I don't think they even let you do it anymore. I think I grandfathered got grandfathered in. Anyway, that's a different podcast.
Yeah. And you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and YouTube.
I heard Stitcher's going away.
Stitcher's
Is it?
going away.
Stitcher's going away.
Aw. Well, get us while you can on Stitcher.
Yeah. Going out of business sale.
Yeah. But you can find us wherever you get your podcasts, and we would really appreciate any 5-star ratings or any likes on those platforms, and any comments, just so we can interact, and that'll help us with the algorithm as well. And we'd love to just spread all of this local artistry as much as possible. So
Share it with your friends.
share it with your
If
grandma.
you're feeling lazy and you don't want to do all that call to action stuff we were talking about, send it to someone who will.
Yes, please.
Please.
So, yeah.
Or invent, email addresses that
Yeah.
everybody's got a few.
That's
I
possible.
know, so.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you how, but
Back
Google it.
pocket ones. So. But yeah, we just love some engagement and some comments or anything. So feedback, whatever you'd like to give us. It is greatly appreciated. And you can find us on social media. You can find us on Facebook at the ArtSpace Podcast. And you can join our Facebook group, The Marvelous Makers and the Art Appreciators. We're starting the Art Buddies there, so look for it. But we also post local events, anything going on in the local art community that you can join in on. And we're also on Instagram. We are at the ArtSpace Pod. So check us out there. And our YouTube channel, the ArtSpace Podcast. So
Are you on X?
Oh, gosh.
No.
Breaking. She doesn't even know what that is.
No.
That's Twitter now. They
No.
renamed
Twitter
it
is
X. X.com.
That is dumb. And no.
No, we're not on Twitter or X.
Or Threads yet.
Maybe we will be one day.
Who knows? But
But and we want to thank our sponsor, Draw Joseph. Joseph from Draw Joseph. His first name isn't Draw.
yeah.
So we want to thank him. We want to thank our musical. I almost said musical guest. Musical guest. Would you kindly? They did our
It's all
theme
me.
song.
That was very SNL. Yeah.
I got
SNL.
I got the impression of the announcer.
Yes. Did that well.
But we want to thank Would You Kindly for doing our theme song.
Oh, yay.
And that kind of sums up, their song really sums up why a lot of people
Yep.
do
This is
art.
why we do it.
Yes. So go check it out on Spotify as well. There's a lot you can do. Just check out and support as much local as you can, because it's so appreciated on so many levels. So and it doesn't cost a lot to do that, or there's ways you could do it for free. So we truly, truly, truly appreciate that, and the efforts on that front. So Yay. I think that about wraps it up for this episode, as a car goes driving by. Wraps up for this one, and we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Depression, addiction, the thrill that you seek. Our restlessness cage is the fire we need. We're here to inspire.